The following clip is from a previously recorded episode of the Cherish Each Moment podcast. Want to welcome Justin Webb, the Lawn Whisperer, to the show. Thanks for being here.
What's happening? Thanks for having me.
Before we get into our conversation, I just want to say that one of my very favorite parts about having a YouTube channel and a social media platform, and I'm sure you feel the same way too, is the friendships that you establish along the way. And you have become one of my very best friends through all of this. We talk regularly, like almost every day, especially during the lawn season, sharing what's going on, bouncing ideas off of each other, sharing different things that are working and what's not working. And you've been to my house. I'd go to your house, but you don't currently have a house.
I don't really have a house right now, so one of these days.
We'll talk more about that, your little transition stage that you're in right now. But let me just say thank you for being such a good friend, and thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's true. I mean, that is literally the best part about everything that we do here. Like, you know, we bond over grass, and some people think that's weird, but it's such a cool thing to be able to see people on the screen and then be able to talk to them and form relationships off the screen. And I think, like, first GIE I ever went to, you and I shared a room. I slept on the floor, but that
wasn't
time.
My fault, for the record.
I called floor. I did call dibs on floor. I was the nice guy on that one. So
it wasn't even my room.
It's true. It was Eric's room, but it was a good time. So yeah, seeing the people that you talk to on the YouTubes, and then a lot of these people have friendships off the screen, and it's very cool in today's world.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest gifts the internet's given us, is a way to find and associate with people of similar interests and people that you wouldn't really realize were out there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
who knew that there would be such a big community around people who just like making their grass look good.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever would have figured that out without the internet. I think that goes for a lot of the communities out there.
Yeah. Grass benders and stripe makers unite.
Yes, that we do. And it's just a short little while before we're back in business.
Yeah.
Did you get any snow?
I woke up this morning and we had maybe like 0.06 inches of snow. So not much, but today is actually my daughter's birthday, and every year, she's 7 this year, and so for 7 years straight, it has snowed on January 17th.
Wow.
So we kept the streak alive.
That's awesome. I wonder how much longer that'll last.
Yeah.
That's really
Hopefully
cool.
we can keep it going. She loves it. So
well, you tell her I said happy birthday, and apologies for taking you away from her.
That's all right.
So let's talk about the move. You're currently in a transition house right now.
Yeah.
What was that like? Getting your house ready to sell and putting it up for sale? And
yeah, so we basically decided that, so we bought our lot. It's been over a year and a half or so ago. And so we kind of had this plan that 2 years from buying that, we were going to plan to build and move in and do all that. The market was so hot, so we decided, hey, let's just go for it. And I don't think it really hit me that we were moving everything out until the final night I went there. And I pulled the last thing out of the house, and it's very weird You spend so much time and effort and you put so much love into your lawn and in your house, and then it's just gone. And it's weird. It's hard. But knowing what the future holds, and that we're going to build our house, and we're designing our own house, and I'm going to have a lot more room to play around in my lawn, makes it all worthwhile, I think. So yeah, we're in a rental right now. We're in a condo, in an HOA that I don't get to take care of the grass here. So that's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know. It won't be for long. It's just temporary.
I actually just got done recording the rest of the episode, and a segment that I recorded is about HOAs. So that's going to be really fun. So thanks for tying into that.
Yeah.
How long did you live at your house before you sold it?
We were in there for 6 years.
Okay.
So we originally planned to be there. I think when we bought it, we were like we'll be here 10 years and then we'll move on. So we're a little short of that, but
hey, that just means you're meeting your goals early.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. We've been here. I think this is year 7, maybe 8 for us. So we're getting up on that 10-year mark. And I think about that all the time. What it would be like to move and having to give up all the hard work that you've put into something, mm-hmm. especially outside. That's the whole reason that I keep going with lawn stuff is I look at that and I know I did that. That's because of me. That's the fruits of my labor, and to have to just leave that behind and close that door to start a new chapter. Pros and cons, obviously, but still having to say goodbye, I don't want to do that. I'm not ready for that.
Yeah, it's hard for sure. Walking through our house, man, I did so much work on the inside too that most people who watch, the YouTube channel don't know.
Right.
From, flooring to just painting. I mean, you do things that you choose, that's how it's going to look. And then you make it happen. And then all of a sudden you have to give it to someone else and say, here you go. Hope you enjoy what we made this look like. And yeah, it's hard, but
yeah. How long are you going to give the new owners before you go back and see how the lawn's doing?
If I go back, it will probably be in the spring because that will give it the best chance of looking good. If I go back in the summer, I know it won't look good. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I have a lot of videos I plan to make at my buddy Eric's house. Live down the street, and I put those sprinklers in his yard, and so I will have to drive by it at some point. But I may look this way.
Just put the blinders on.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about the new property then. What are the specs on the new property?
Yeah, so the new property is about 3 acres, and it's out in the middle of the woods, which is nice. So we're in a neighborhood setting, and so you have to drive through a neighborhood to get to our property. But where the house sits, you're not a neighborhood feel. You can't look out your window and see a neighborhood sitting there. So it's nice, so you got the neighborhood for the kids so they can go ride their bikes and stuff. But I've got the seclusion that I can be outside and feel in peace. And so that's good for me. And so, yeah, so far we've got our house plans all ready to go. We have not yet broken ground, but that is actually supposed to happen next week. So
nice. So have you done any work on the property yet? Have you gotten started on anything?
Yeah. So my dad and I have been doing a lot of the work. I'm pretty fortunate that he is able to do that stuff and enjoys doing that stuff. So he has a skid steer. He's got a Bobcat. And so we've took it down there. We cut down a bunch of trees, ripped a bunch of trees down, which is always a good time, and put the driveway in. And so that's pretty much the extent of what we have done thus far. And I'm not sure what else he and I are going to be able to do until the house gets rolling, because we don't have a excavator to dig the basement or anything like that. So we've got someone else coming in to do that work.
Yeah. You got to have somebody else do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Well, that's exciting. Are you filming anything right now, or are you just kind of waiting till spring starts?
So it's kind of weird. I decided whenever we moved out of the house, I was going to take a break, which wintertime, last couple winters, I've taken a break anyway, because not really many people are into lawn channels in the winter.
Right.
Unless we get snow, maybe do some snowblower reviews or something like that. But actually, I have 2 videos filmed that I filmed during the time that we were taking all these trees down, because I went ahead and reviewed the Toro chainsaw again because I got a new blade on it and it did much better than the first time I used it. And so I'm actually really impressed with that thing. So I have a video cutting all the trees down, going over that Toro chainsaw, and that was filmed like 2 months ago. And I've been so, I don't know if you can relate to this or not, but whenever that winter time comes and I get out of filmmaking mode, I like, it's so hard to get back into it. It's so hard to motivate myself to edit and pick up the camera. So I just need a kick in the pants here to get on the edit train on that one. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Unless we get snow, I probably won't really film much until the house starts getting underway and I can start doing stuff down at the property more. And then taking on, I don't have a lawn here to take care of. So my dad's yard is probably going to be my baby this year.
That'll be good. Yeah. I feel the same way about winter. It's hard for me because it gets so cold. I don't want to go outside.
Right.
And when it comes to like snowblower reviews and things like that, maybe once or twice a year is okay, but the snow that we get here is so unpredictable. It's never consistent. We finally got like a really good snow event this year that was actually significant, and I was clearing probably almost a foot tall drift in the driveway, and we hadn't seen anything like that for probably 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So having the inconsistency and then having to go out and deal with the cold and film is just not ideal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found that working on the podcast in the off season this year has been really helpful. Just trying to like stay in the game and stay in the flow and stay motivated to get content out and to film. That way, when I pick up the camera and take it outside in the spring, then it's a little easier to kind of get back in that groove and not feel like I've lost all my momentum and figure out how to film again and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to get something going at least like every few weeks. Just you get so out of it and it's hard to get back into a rhythm. But one thing I am going to do, and anybody who has watched my channel knows I hate talking to the camera in front of people. So anytime a car would come by, I'd hide the camera over that. But I'm going to assert my dominance when I get down to my new property, because I have one house across the gravel driveway from me, and so they'll be able to see what I'm doing. If I'm in the front yard, I'm going to assert my dominance right away. Let them know, hey, this guy talks to a camera. He's not a weird guy. He's kind of weird, but that's just how it's going to be. Okay, so I won't feel so weird and bad whenever I'm out talking to the camera. I don't have to hide.
It's funny to think that you just have one neighbor to worry about watching you.
Yeah.
And I've got like the whole street.
Yeah.
So I think you'll be just fine asserting your dominance. You're surrounded by trees. That's like the most ideal situation for a YouTuber, because you're always worried about what the neighbors think while you're walking around holding up a camera in the air and talking to it all by yourself.
What's this guy talking to his grass? What is this guy doing?
I think about that all the time when I'm outside. I always try to make sure that, the neighbors aren't out doing something when I'm ready to go film. And it seems like every time I go outside, I'll have taken a few minutes to kind of get everything organized and get everything together, and it's been nice and quiet out there. And the second I'm ready to start filming, noise.
So do you think it's like people are waiting and they're like looking out the window? It's like, oh, Jimmy's outside. Let's go outside. Let's do it now. So you go outside and you're ready to film and no one's out there. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, let's go outside and just make him feel known that we know what he's doing.
We're watching you.
Hey, honey, he's doing it again. He's talking to the grass.
I could believe both ways. I could see it going both ways for sure.
Yeah.
But all my neighbors know, and I feel like I just need to remind myself. They already know.
Yeah.
It's not anything new to them. I think the
more you feel comfortable with it and aren't like make it awkward, the easier and better it is for you and for them.
Yeah. I can handle a car driving by. I used to be in your situation where I couldn't, and I would just kind of like run into the garage and hide. Sometimes I do that. Mostly I do that when I see people walking down the sidewalk on my side of the street and I know they're going to pass me. And then I'll kind of like back off a little bit and go inside the garage and pretend like I'm doing something so I don't have to interact with them or say, hey, yeah, I'm filming a YouTube video.
It's fine.
Keep going. Yes, I know the grass looks good. Thank you. Yes, it's real. Thank you. Yes.
Even though I killed this spot up here by the flower bed. Yep.
That was last year. It was 2020, not 2021. Oh, there you go. ASMR.
Not sponsored.
Zero sugar.
You ever had Sprite Zero?
Anything I've had zero tastes terrible to me.
This is the best.
You've got to go fully loaded.
Oh, full diesel?
Fully loaded. Or in the case of my late morning routine, you got to go with the watermelon
Ride the bull.
You got to ride the bull. And it's only the watermelon for me. That's the best flavor ever created.
Never had it.
You're missing out.
Oh, man. I'm a slacker. Big time slacker.
Speaking of slackers.
No pun intended.
Just kidding. They need to come on the show too.
Bunch of tools.
They need to come out to my house too. LT Turf, maybe season 5.
Yes.
I'm just going to put it out there. Just going to put it into existence.
Have they started filming for season 3 yet?
Are they on season 3 or season 4? I've lost count.
I want to say, I think
3?
season 1 was when they went to Utah, and season 2 was when they came up my way.
And I wasn't cool enough then. They came out here too early.
Too soon.
Far too soon. But I did get to hang out with them. That's when I actually met them for the first time. That was really fun. I was actually looking at some footage from that day when we were at Jeremy's house just a couple days ago.
Okay, yeah.
Just showed up in my Google Photos.
Yeah, those are good guys. A lot of good guys in the lawn community. Again, that's like what we were talking about. There's so many good people, and you build these relationships off camera, and it's just really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. I love it, and I feel like GIE is like the great meetup for us.
The ultimate lawn care lovers paradise.
Yep, totally.
So I'm gonna flip the script real quick. I'm gonna ask you a question.
This is not planned. Okay.
I really want to know, what is if you had one or maybe like a top 3 things that you were looking forward to this year with your lawn season? It could be maybe a product you want to try, maybe a piece of lawn equipment you want to try, or just a project you have that in your lawn or somewhere else that you're excited for.
Yeah, you are absolutely putting me on the spot with zero preparation or thinking here. And you stole my question, so
I demand answers.
Double thanks. 3 things I'm looking forward to off the top of my head. I am going to build a shed in my backyard this year.
Ooh,
finally.
Hey, shed happens.
Yeah, shed is going to happen. Big time.
Big time.
We're looking at a 16 by 24 shed.
Big boy.
We're going to have, as soon as the temperatures come up and we're in ideal situations, my neighbor does concrete. He's going to come put a concrete slab in the backyard. It's going to be just behind the putting green. And once that cures and is good to go, the funny thing is I had this shed ordered. They had a Black Friday sale, and it was a great deal. I think it was like 10% off, but when you're looking at sheds that cost several $1,000s, 10% actually means something, and it's not necessarily just tax. I actually had it ordered, but I called him, and I said, hey, look, I just ordered this. I wanted to get the deal. Can you wait to come out and put it together until end of March or April? And this was back in November. And they said the longest that they could hold it is for 3 months. And so I was like, oh crap, it's not going to work because I won't have the concrete slab done yet. So I got a little bit too ahead of the game. So I have to reorder it, and hopefully they'll have a discount offering between now and when I'm ready for it, because we're about in the window where I can order it and they can hold it for 3 months, and that'll be long enough. But I'm looking forward to that. I've outgrown my garage, and I need to move a lot of things out into the shed. So I'm going to be giving up about 350-ish square feet of grass in the backyard, which isn't really too much.
Worth it.
Totally worth it. One thing I'm really skeptical about, since we're talking about things that are going to happen this year, we bought the kids a swing set for Christmas. Got a used swing set. Drove down probably about 30 or 40 minutes south to go pick it up and load it in a trailer. Got a really good deal on it. That's going to go in the backyard on the other side of the trampoline, just opposite of the shed. And we're going to start out with it in the grass. It's not going to have like wood chips in it or anything like that, or it's not going to be like an enclosed separate space. It's just going to be in the grass. And so I'm going to try and see how maintaining the grass around the swing set with all that foot traffic and having to mow around it and trim around it and all that stuff's going to go. I'm not very optimistic about it, but I think it will be something worth making videos about.
Yeah.
The putting green is going to take off this year. And I think that's probably one of the things I'm most looking forward to is the putting green, and actually like putting a hole in it and putting on it rather than just trying to get it to grow in and fill in and keep the cats from pooping on it.
Oh yeah. You gotta love that poop. Free fertilizer though,
Yeah. I just wish it would break down faster.
Yeah. Yeah. So that you have a legit bent grass putting green.
Yep. 100% V8 bent grass. It's about
And
500 square feet. That's from
Barenbrug?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Barenbrug's got good stuff. So I think, I'm not 100% sure, but the, Indiana University golf course, it's brand new golf course, opened last year. Top 20 hardest golf courses in the world. It's a very hard course, but they have almost 100% Barenbrug grass throughout the golf course.
That's cool.
Like their tee boxes are RPR. They've got the Turf Blue Pro, Kentucky Bluegrass, and then they've got, I want to say it is also Barenbrug bent grass greens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's neat.
So yeah, you'll have to come here and see it in person.
Yeah, we'll have to go golfing.
Yeah. But so yeah, I am really looking forward to that shed project because I would like to have a shed or a garage detached from my house as well.
I'm planning on putting a garage door on it too, so that'll be good.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't want doors that swing open or anything. I just want it to go straight up and down.
Yeah.
And then it's going to have its own power supply out there. I'm not going to run power to it. It's going to be off the grid power, probably solar. Well, definitely solar. And then it'll just power like a couple LED lights on the exterior and let me charge up batteries and things like that.
You got to charge up those 60-volt Toro batteries.
You know it. You know it. So that'll be good. Speaking of Barenbrug, though, one other project just to finish answering your question. Barenbrug sent me a new lawn for my parents' house for their front yard last year. So that's been sitting in my garage for a little while now. So first of spring, we're going to kill off their front lawn, and they're going to get HGT.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be bluegrass. I think there's some RPR in there too.
Okay.
Which will be really fun.
Yeah. I'm still debating what I'm going to plant my yard whenever time comes.
I was going to ask you if you had figured out what's going where and what you're going to plant and how you're going to do it.
It's there's so many good options out there that it's so hard to pick just one, And so I think I honestly might leave it up to like a survey. I might ask people on Instagram and YouTube, probably Brug's, HGT and RPR.
Yeah.
It's just such a nice grass that, it's hard to beat.
Yeah. Just kind of let the people decide for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be cool. That'll be awesome. I'm excited to see what you do with the property. It's been really fun to kind of follow along. What you have is kind of what my wife and I are looking for out here, except it's dang near impossible to find decent land out here for a decent price. Yeah. So
it's crazy. You and I have talked about the prices out there versus here, and you see the prices here and think, wow, that's so cheap. But even the prices here now are way higher than what they were 2, 3, 5 years ago.
Yeah. I think generally overall everything's gone up. I don't think there's really any debate about that. But the markets are so different. You know, the market here is always been somewhat high, especially since tech companies have started coming in and stuff like that. The housing market kind of boomed. But yeah, what you paid for your land, I would buy yesterday, no problem. And yeah, and we could build a nice big house on it and probably dang near pay it off.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Yeah,
it's just stupid.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then I'm hoping to get the land that is next to my property. So for those of you who don't know, like I said, there's a neighborhood here. There's a gravel drive that goes to my house here, and then there's like 800 acres of woods here. And then there's parceled off 12, I think 13 and like 15 or something like that here. And I'm hoping to eventually be able to buy the parcels that are right next to mine. So the first one I want to buy is the 12 acres that are right adjacent to mine.
Mm-hmm. And that just makes it even more ideal, because not only do you have land, you have 3 acres, you have the option in the future, if things work out, to expand on what you already have. That's so cool.
Yep, I'm excited. It's a good spot for it. We kind of lucked into it because one of my good friends who's in my small group, my Bible study, we were just talking about how my wife and I were looking for a house. We wanted some land, and he said, "Hey, I think my dad might have what you want." So it wasn't even on the market or anything. His dad happened to have it, and he was going to sell it. And I went and looked at it the next day and called him up and said, "Hey, I want it." So
perfect.
Right place at the right time.
Perfect. Very nice. So let's take a second and just kind of look back on 2021. What were some of your favorite memories or your favorite moments, if you will, of 2021? What did you learn, and what do you remember most?
I will say, I think the 2 biggest things for me that I took on this year is one, I got into reel mowing, which I kind of did that at the end of the previous year, but I couldn't really grasp it. So I would say I did a full season of reel mowing. And so that was, I mean, for those of you who don't understand the reel mowing craze or any of that, it's just fun. It's the best way I can describe it. It's such a different experience when it comes to mowing. And I still have love for the tall grass. And I always will, but just the reel mowing it's just fun. Like you can experiment with different heights and even like adjusting your mower 0.1 inch, like 1/10 of an inch. It makes such a big difference for how it feels and how it looks. And so that's a whole different topic that you could probably talk for 2 hours on your podcast about. But that's one thing that I look to do in the future as well. And the other thing I would say, getting into gardening. So not the mowing, but I built raised garden beds with my daughters. And that was something that I wanted to, experience myself, because I've never really been into gardening. And I want them to grow up and get into gardening. And so that was a fun experience, just being able to plant different stuff and see how it grows and try what we grow. I think that's such a cool thing, and something that I'm looking forward to doing on the 3 acres whenever we get down and are living down there.
Oh yeah. You're going to have tons of space for gardens out there.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the biggest benefits of land, is you have all these different areas that you can kind of segment off and dedicate to certain projects, and not really have to worry about it invading something that, you have such a small space to work with. You got to balance what's there. And
yeah, I think that's going to be probably maybe a shock to people who watch my channel and know that I'm building on 3 acres, is that they're probably like, oh, he's 3 acres. He's going to be mowing 3 acres of grass. And he's, it's going to have I have a lot more grass, or I will have a lot more grass than I had at my last house, but I plan on having this much grass versus this much stuff or area to do all kinds of other things, that gardening. And you and I talked about a water feature. That's probably the thing I'm most excited about, is I want to put a pond in the backyard, a small pond, relatively speaking, but a big backyard type pond.
Yeah. Water features in general are just such a nice compliment anywhere you put them, backyard, front yard. I wanted to put in my water fountain in my front yard since day one. I wanted to do that. Like day one, I saw that little square area next to the walk up to the porch, and I said, there's going to be a fountain there one day.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's so cool. Because I've discovered that spring on the very front of our property. There's a spring that pops out of the ground, runs down the hill, and then runs along the driveway. And then we've actually put in a culvert that runs underneath what will be our concrete driveway up to our house. And I could just sit there and listen to that water run all day and never have to leave. I could just sit there all day and just enjoy it.
Yeah, it just sets such a nice ambient atmosphere.
Yeah.
I'm really tempted to do something by the putting green and just have like and I think we've talked about this before, where we just have like this like rock waterfall and this little river that runs along and just circulates there. I think that would be super cool.
Do you watch Greg Whitstock, the pond guy, or any pond people on YouTube?
I may have seen a couple videos.
That's been my obsession lately.
Yeah.
It's like all I watch is people putting in ponds and doing stuff with ponds. And whether you want just a waterfall, or whether you want just a pond, or you want a waterfall in a pond, or a fountain into a pond, like you can do anything. And I think that would be an awesome project if you put something next to the putting green.
Yeah, that's the idea. Well, if anything, there's going to be a shed next to the putting green, so something will go next to the putting green.
Something is going next to the putting green.
But yeah, I would like to add more to the landscape of the backyard for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm even considering digging some trenches for some sprinklers over there just for the putting green too.
Okay.
When I grew it in, I did the hose setup, above ground hose setup, and that worked great, but it's not something that I want to deal with long term. And the nice thing is about maybe 20 feet away from that putting green is the valve box, and there's a free valve in there that I can use.
Nice.
That hasn't been used yet. So I can tap right in there and just run a line, and it's good to go.
Yeah. That's awesome. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good year next year.
Yeah, I'm really excited. You said that you were going to be doing a lot of content at your buddy's house.
Yeah, just one, so I can keep up with the reel mowing. I'm not going to have anywhere to reel mow with that, but then also just keeping an eye and working with these irrigreen sprinklers. That's something that I'm really excited about. I'm going to plan on putting those in my yard.
Yeah.
Those are the digital sprinklers that you can control the pattern. And I think like just watching those things work and seeing how easy they were to install. I think those are a game changer. They're expensive.
Yeah.
I get a lot of people comment on that video I made, and they're like, no, I'm not going to pay that. And I'm like, well, I mean, you kind of get what you pay for, but
yeah, you get the experience of using it and you get the convenience of it. Have you done the math on how big of a difference it is? Say like for a 5,000 square foot backyard, you might need like however many regular heads.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going to need maybe like 2 or 3 irrigreen heads, which is significantly less.
Max 3, yeah. So
yeah.
two or 3, depending on the shape and the objects that are in there.
Yeah. So the difference in overall cost in supplies, is it that much more expensive for irrigreen, or is it still?
So the biggest thing with the cost of the irrigreen is paying for the controller. That is the biggest thing. So whether you have a 1-head system or a 10-head system, you have to have their smart digital controller, and that's what the biggest cost is. So once you get in with that, which I want to say 1 head with that controller it's pretty steep. It's like $1,600 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. For 1 head and the controller.
Yes, for 1 head and the controller. But once you add on a 2nd head or a 3rd, whatever, the other heads are like $200, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're compared to a typical rotor sprinkler, whatever, that's like $20 to $30 probably for a nice one.
Yeah.
you're paying $200. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
so
they are
it
more
adds up pretty
expensive.
quick. Yeah, I didn't
But
know that that you had to use their controller. I thought it was a bring your own
yeah,
controller kind of thing,
that's
and all the magic
I.
happened in the head.
It would be nice if they could do that, and I think they're trying to figure out a way that they can do that.
Hmm.
But as of right now, it's the head that communicates with the controller or the sprinklers to be able to change the patterns and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
hopefully in the future they can ditch the controller, but
yeah,
as of
because
right
that
now
would
they
bring the
can't.
cost down significantly.
Oh yeah, it would make it way more competitive.
Yeah, that's the thing about technology too, is you've got to start somewhere, you know, and
Yeah.
you got to have that proof of concept, and then you can build off of that and iterate off of that. That's the hard part, and sometimes, like especially in this case, sometimes the first product is really expensive.
Yeah. And I'm not sure how I pitched this idea to them. And a lot of people think I work for Green. I don't. I'm just a guy who really liked the sprinklers when I saw them. And my neighbor just happens to be a sales rep for them. And so I was kind of fortunate in that. But one thing I pitched the idea to, and I don't know if this is even possible because I'm not an engineer or anything like that. But if you could have like the bottom holes open, the top holes open, and shut the middle holes so that the water could skip the sidewalk and you could spray over the sidewalk and in front of the sidewalk, that would be awesome.
That
But
would
I
be
don't know
cool.
how you could do that.
And that's primarily for people who have park strips.
Yes.
Yeah. Or I guess you could do it if you had like a walkway path that goes through your yard up to your porch.
Just so you're not watering your yard, or you could like for your yard example. It makes sense if you don't think about it. Your yard, for example, you've got your flower beds in the middle of your yard
and a couple trees.
Some trees. Say you don't want to water those, you could skip that and water over and in front of, and skip the flower bed. So
yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
I've always wondered what kind of negative things I've done to my trees just from hitting them with a sprinkler all the time.
Yeah,
because it's direct hit every time it cycles through.
yeah.
So
and maybe your trees and your flowers might need water every day where your yard doesn't, or vice versa. So just something to think about.
Yeah, super interesting. What do you think is going to be, and I guess there could be more than one, but what do you think are going to be the big topics of conversation within the lawn community this year? What have you seen anything so far? I know I've seen a couple things, but I'm curious to know what you've seen or what you expect is going to happen this year.
Well, so going to GIE, obviously GIE is more geared towards pros and that sort of thing, but it seems like battery powered and auto mowers and all that stuff is just in your face, and it's going to be in your face. And I think people who, especially homeowners with smaller yards, and I will consider a smaller yard like something you could use a push mower on. So I don't know, 10,000 square feet or less, probably. Don't resist the battery powered stuff. I know a lot of people are stubborn. Battery powered is just not what it used to be. I could take my Toro battery powered stuff. I've got some Ego battery powered stuff. I got to take it out and I'd put it up against anybody else's gas powered stuff when it comes to weed eating, edging, blowing, all that stuff. So I think that is just going to keep becoming a bigger and bigger thing that I think eventually probably most places will only carry battery powered stuff. I mean, we've seen California.
Yep.
I think that's just going to continue to grow and grow. So don't resist it. Other than that, I don't really know. I'm looking forward to what's coming. There's always going to be something that's coming. It's going to surprise me, and I'm looking forward to it.
For sure. Yeah, I think battery, especially just catching trends from GIE, battery powered anything, because even the robo mowers are battery powered.
Yeah. Even the skid steers they had, the Bobcat skid steers they had battery powered. The Toro grandstand, or not the the dingoes.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff is going battery powered, which is crazy.
Yeah. And I think, was it even today, Milwaukee announced that they're coming on the battery powered homeowner lawnmower train.
Yep.
with the M18. I think it holds 2 M18 batteries,
Yeah.
but I haven't looked too much into the specs.
The only thing I saw about that I like, which is like just like the Toro 60 volt, is that it's got a steel deck.
Mm-hmm. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
I think that's a great choice. The steel deck for sure. And
yeah.
And I think it's rear wheel drive. So that's nice too. But yeah, battery powered for sure. I'm gonna jump into the battery world a little bit more this year. All my hand tools that I'm gonna use, so edger, trimmer, blower, that's all gonna be battery. I'm not gonna use my Echo PAS string trimmer this year.
Yeah.
It's gonna take the year off. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. And maybe,
I think really no matter what, even if you have a half acre lawn, 1 acre lawn, you can keep your gas powered mower because, that's probably the way to go. I know that there's battery powered homeowner residential zero turns that I have not used, so I can't speak for them. But even if you use a gas mower, using, like you said, hand tools, blower, weed eater, edger, hedge trimmers, all that stuff, battery powered is just the way to go. It's so much easier to use.
Mm-hmm. Especially for the average Joe homeowner. It's kind of a no-brainer now. Like especially if you're just looking to, invest in something that's going to last you a while and hold up. Because I'll admit, the first battery powered piece of equipment that I owned, I bought when we first had a lawn here, and it was a Black & Decker string trimmer, and I threw that thing away so fast. But it's not like that anymore. Products actually are have better build quality. The batteries last a lot longer. They charge a lot faster. And so far, longevity wise, my stuff's holding up. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to continue to see how battery products evolve and where the technology goes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these companies keep coming out with more and more stuff, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, and it's fun to be a part of the conversation, and in some cases, it's fun to get to try some of this stuff out.
Yeah. I think the most fun part about it for me, honestly, is going on these like Facebook groups, and somebody will post something that they got a battery powered something, and then, stubborn lawn care guy will come on and say, "Oh, that thing's a piece of junk. That'll never outperform my steel whatever." I'm like,
I've had for 20 years.
Yeah, you should give it a shot.
Yeah, and that's I think that's the thing that bothers me the most about those conversations is people that make comments like that have no experience with the newer stuff, or with, even if somebody asks, "What spreader should I get?" People will always answer that question. Well, at least 90%, I'd say that's even probably conservative. 95% of people will answer that question based solely on the one that they currently own. And that's the only one that they've owned.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say, buy this. But they have no other products that they've ever used to justify them saying, buy this one.
Yeah.
And that kind of bothers me because I've tried different spreaders, and I know how those particular models perform, and I think it's better to answer those questions with, well, I've tried this one, and this one, and out of those three, this one has held up really, really well. It works really, really good. It costs a little bit more, but it's lasted me way longer than the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if we could get more detailed answers like that in our groups and our discussions, it would be so much more beneficial to people who are looking to get something that's going to last them a long time.
For sure. Yeah. And that's why we got to try everything, right? That's why we need to keep getting stuff to try so we can know what the best thing is.
Yeah. It's all about being a good resource. I don't really care to have 10 spreaders in my garage, but if it helps me answer someone's question and helps them figure out what to get, then I'm making a nice contribution to the community.
Yeah, for sure. I 100% agree with that.
Sweet. Well,
I'm getting distracted over here.
No.
Okay, yeah.
That's okay. I think we've gone through enough stuff here, or you need to get back to family and get back to birthday shenanigans and
All the birthday shenanigans. I have got Operation to play. That was a big gift this year. She opened up a present and it was Operation. So I have not played that since I was like 7 years old.
Well, harness your number one heart surgeon, steady hand.
Steady hand.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. I appreciate you, and I look forward to having you back on. Maybe we can talk all about reel mowing and dive more into that topic. But for now,
when my house is built and I've got my lawn in, Jimmy is coming to my house.
I very much look forward to that. I still have my airline credits too. So we'll make it happen. But I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing how things go for you with the new property and how your 2022 season plays out. And if you need more to do, you're more than welcome to come out here and got plenty for you to do out here.
It would be a perfect time to make my rounds, go visit some people. So yeah, we'll see what we come up with. I looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on the show, and thank you guys for watching.
Yes. Thank you. That is Justin Webb, the Lawn Whisperer, on the Cherish Each Moment podcast.